My name is Paulina, and I am originally from Veracruz, Mexico. That's right. Jarochos in the house? All right. Right. So as many of you know, Veracruz is also one of the parts of this, because it sits in the Gulf of Mexico, that it was also a very well-known, obviously, port, that also a lot of folks, Black folks that were brought over from Africa to become slaves in Latin America, in Mexico, were rooted in Veracruz. So there's a long-standing Black Mexican community, literally like in the place that I grew up, we're like in the next county over from Yanga, Veracruz. So if you've never heard of Yanga, look it up with a Y. And I say that to say that part of, I feel like, the healing work, and part of why I'm so committed to having deeper rooted, spiritually grounded unity work between Black and brown folks and between indigenous folks and Black folks is because colonization has not just changed our names for us, but it has literally put on a different lens of how we even see each other. And what we think is of a real Mexican history, right? Like a lot of us talk about like the Mexican Revolution, how we were kicking ass and taking names. But we don't like to talk about all the ways that Black folks in Latin America, in Mexico, have been kicking ass and taking names since 1609 and prior, right? And so, a lot of my work growing up in the South, I came to the US when I was 12. And grew up in North Carolina, rural, country-ass North Carolina. It's not Durham, and people are like, I know Durham. It is not Durham. It is in the fields and the farm, and really in farmland, right? A lot of fields, where a lot of our farm worker folks, a lot of Mexicanos, all the Mexicanos that I knew and grew up with were farm workers. And my family was doing farm work at the time. And I definitely feel like I evolved politically from the generosity of Southern Black folks. That a lot of my politicizing around race came from Black folks being like, here you go, little Mexican girl. Don't let white people fool you. Don't think because you're light-skinned, you're gonna get away with everything. Look around you, open up your eyes, see what is happening around you. And so that was the context in which I was politicized. I was falling in love with Tupac as I was learning English, honey. I was like singing in the car like, yeah, that's right. You're like, oh. And it's true. And then to me, like that is so much of the context for Latinos in the US and for Latinos in the South. Is that so much of our political education, so much of what we know and understand to be true about race, we have learned because of the generosity of Southern Black communities, and really the Black-led struggle in the US. And so for me, a part of the work that SONG does and why we're so deeply vested in unity work, one is because that's what we were founded to do 23 years ago. We were started as a multiracial organization to build and incubate unity funds. And at the time, because we were founded by 3 white lesbians and 3 Black lesbians, it was very much thinking about unity between Black and white folks, right? And then the Latino migration began to happen. A lot of our people began to move down south, a lot of API folks, a lot of other immigrant communities of color. And we were beginning to really contend what race meant to each of us. What did it mean to be white in the South, right? What did it mean that Latinos wanted to be white in the South, to not be treated like shit? And that we were told that that was the one strategy that was going to keep us from being killed, that was the one strategy that was going to keep us from starving, that was the one strategy, right, to keep our children out of jail, is if we aligned with whiteness, right? Versus the reality of what was happening all around us, which is that in North Carolina, we were very strategically, and I was all over the South, but in North Carolina, it looked like, for example, the ways that we were competing against each other was that, for example, I remember the first time I tried to go get my learner's permit to drive. That went to the DMV. And the DMV in North Carolina, it's white run. It's still white run. All the top people are primarily white. But all the people that we dealt with in the front, or all the frontline people that you walk in and talk to, are Black women. And in rural North Carolina, that was very strategic. Why? Because a lot more Latinos and a lot more Mexicanos were going to go get their licenses, right? And they were being told no by Black women. No, you don't have the right papers. No, this, like, and just like, right, like the state runaround, right? The like, no, it's not, it's a papeles son chuecos. That's not the right one, or like, that looks fake. And that became the narrative in the Latino community was like, whoa, Black people don't want us here, right? And we knew it was deeper than that, but that's just the easy thing to reach for. It is an easy thing to say who is telling me yes, who is telling me no, and like bump all of y'all. right? Versus the reality that we have been consistently pitted against each other, and we're trying to recover from our own heartache of feeling worthless, right? Of being robbed oftentimes of our time and place, of being robbed of our sacred times, of being robbed of our sacred spaces. And that the pain of colonization actually to me personally, it's been racial justice work has been a journey of healing, actually. Healing from my own shame, healing from all the fucked up things that have happened around me that I didn't intervene on. All the things that I've watched happen in my family, in my organizations, in our work, in our movements, in our coalitions, when we didn't step up and do the right thing, right? And I'm not saying that we know what the right thing is. I'm not saying that I know what the right thing is. But it is to actually have the willingness to say, who is the broader we? Who is the broader we? And so I just want to invite us into a new moment, a new conversation, a new set of honest, I feel like honest and like to uncover a little bit of like our heartache around what some of this is so we can reclaim our wholeness. And that to me is the legacy of like colonization. It is literal, spiritual, physical, social dismemberment, y'all. It is literally the dismemberment of our people. And to me, part of our work is, who's the family? What parts are we missing? Why are we missing? And who is actually showing up and for what? So I invite you all into a new moment. I invite you all into the struggle of that moment. I know a lot of us are already deep in it. Some of the most like generous conversations that I've had with people around race and class have been people in this room. And I think we have so much more to offer future generations so that we are not disconnecting our Black and Latino communities and pretending like we are not of each other. So.